how to pass the NASM CPT 7th edition exam. Let's get into it. I waste no time. First and foremost, the book is about 700 pages long and 23 chapters. They break it down into about 6 sections, okay? They give you about 6 months to complete the entire program. Some people finish in 2 weeks, some people finish in 4, 6 weeks. It is work at your own pace, so you can literally work as fast as you want to, or I will admit that the 700 pages has a lot of fluff in it. So there's a lot of people who don't read the book from top to bottom and they just go for the test. There's some people who only study the 6 sections, and some people just study the study guide. Me personally, I did start to read the book from top to bottom up until like maybe chapter 16. Then I started to realize that it was a lot of fluff. Fluff meaning it's stuff that you typically won't need for the exam, but it's stuff that you should know. Like, it's valuable information, it's great information, and it's stuff that you should want to know if you want to be a high valued personal trainer. So once I realized that it was a lot of fluff, I was doing the same thing you are, looking up YouTube video after YouTube video and just trying to figure out the quickest way possible, because I did have a job that was waiting to hire me, but I had to get certified. So when it comes to NASM, it is the most highest respected certification across the board. Okay, so I looked into like ISSA and other certifications, trying to get the quickest one possible. It is worth the time and effort that it takes to get NASM certified, because across the board it's respected, and you're almost literally like 9 times out of 10 guaranteed a job if you're NASM certified as a CPT. So things that you must know for the test, must know, like no exception: overhead squat assessment, know it like the back of your hand. OPT model, know every step and every order that OPT model is in. Also know the reps, the sets, the intensity, tempo, and rest time for each one of those stages, like the back of your hand. Know the overactive and underactive muscles, and know your skin folds and where to take them for X measurements. Those things are like non-negotiable. Like, you have to know those things. Majority of the test is going to be those questions, but in a million different ways. So every test is different. So if you have to retake the test, which I hope you don't, because it is a $200 fee if you have to take it after your first try. So if you fail, or for whatever reason you don't show up on time, whatever the situation is, you have to pay that $200 fee. So when it came to the test, after I finished everything and all the information I needed out of the 23 chapters, I was constantly taking the practice test. The practice test you can take endless amount of times. There's no limit of how many times you could take the practice test. I was taking the practice test, no lie, like probably 3 or 4 times a day, because it did take a good hour to maybe an hour and a half just to get through the practice test, because it is still 100 questions, 120 questions. So it was stressful. I didn't pass the practice test up until the day I was scheduled for my actual exam. I still didn't pass. I felt that I really did know the information. I'm just not really good with taking tests. So if you're somebody who struggles with just taking tests, I would just take that into consideration, that if you don't pass the practice exam, don't stress too much. I definitely recommend you have to print out the study guide. This is a study guide. This is just the study guide. It is long, thick information in this study guide, but you will need it. And it helped me tremendously. I studied this, again, the back of my hand, highlighted the things that I wasn't sure about, and went over them 100 times. Another key, there's this guy on YouTube who is the ultimate cheat code for passing the NASM exam. And I'm going to post his @ here. If not, I'll tag it in the description below. But his name is Sort of Healthy Trainer. Because if you're not read and learn, he gives you the visuals, and his videos just break it down So I definitely recommend visiting his channel, watching some of his videos leading up into the exam as well. When you're practicing to actually take the exam, I do still recommend you take the practice test just so you can get the feel of it. Once I scheduled the exam, there's 2 ways you can go about taking the final exam, and that is in person or virtually. So if you go in person, that's a whole nother rodeo. I chose virtually. I scheduled my exam. I had about maybe a week or 2 to prep for it before they actually had an opening. So once you take the exam, you will have an instructor who will scan your entire room. There cannot be any books in that room. There cannot be any phones in that room. Any electronics, anything within your proximity has to be clear. They are very, very, very strict on that. So do not even think for a second you're going to be able to cheat on this test. No AirPods, no earbuds, nothing. You have to be zoned in. If your eyes leave the screen for a long period of time, they will give you a warning. And after a certain amount of warnings, they cut you and you automatically fail. So it is very, very important that you are zoned in, focused on the test. If you are going to take it virtually, keep in mind they're very strict. So there will not be any cheating on this test. As for the final exam, you'll have to schedule your exam. Once you schedule your exam, it'll give you a list of requirements of things that you have to do in order to take the exam virtually. Keep in mind, if you have a MacBook or a desktop, there's 2 different softwares that your computer has to be updated to actually take it. So please note that, because if you sign up for the virtual exam and your computer system doesn't have the updated iOS system that they require for the test, then you can automatically fail. I was stressing because I just found out that my computer wasn't updated to the certain software that they needed for the test. So make sure you check that before you get started. You have to be checked in like 20 minutes before. Be ready. Be ready. The test, the final exam is 120 questions. 100 of those questions are the actual exam. The additional 20 questions are just research questions. Keep in mind, you don't know which is which. So you don't know if the 20 questions are in the beginning or at the end. They're all mixed in. So don't think that the last 20 questions don't count or the first 20 questions don't count. The research questions are just all mixed in and embedded in that 120 questions. You need a 70% to pass the test, and they do not tell you your score at the end. You'll just get either pass or fail. That's it. Okay? And it is stressful. I would say that the practice exam and the actual exam were completely different. The way they worded the questions was completely different. And thank God everything is multiple choice, but it is very tricky with the way they word things. So I would definitely say take your time reading these questions. You have, I believe, 2 hours to complete the entire exam, which I think is more than enough time. Don't rush through it. You are able to bookmark questions. So if there's a question that you're just unsure of, you can come back to it later and just bookmark it, skip it for that period of time. Just really, really study. Do not take this test lightly. A lot of people on YouTube were like, yeah, I finished in 2 weeks, or I just took the test. I didn't even read the book. If you don't have $200 just sitting around in case you fail, I would definitely recommend that you take this as serious as possible. Taking it serious, taking your time, and I wish you the best of luck. If you guys have any questions, make sure you guys drop them down below. My response time is very, very quick. And make sure you guys like and subscribe my content. I'm so grateful and thankful for you guys watching this video. You're going to kill it, and good luck on your tests. Mwah!